I started in the cooperative movement 45 years ago. A long time. Makes me feel very old. And in those days, the consumer cooperative movement in the UK had 25% market share in food retailing. About 6 years ago, that had dwindled to 4%. We were in slow and painful decline. The reason for that was fragmentation and inefficiency. We are operating in one of the most mature and developed and highly competitive markets there is. We're up against some of the biggest and strongest retailers in the world. Organisations like Tesco, Asda, Walmart. But we were fragmented. We have lots of regional, small, cooperative societies, all operating under the same brand, but delivering a different brand message. And we were inefficient. All of these regional societies have their own CEOs, their own head offices, their own boards of directors, and massive cost. So the price of our product, the state of our stores, we just could not compete. We were facing a burning platform. Change was necessary because if change was not to come about, we would be out of business in, I would say, 5 to 10 years. But how do you bring change about in a democracy? Very difficult. However, a few of us decided that we needed to confront this issue and get people to recognise that change was necessary. And what we believed was that there was requirement for substantial consolidation. My view was, and I make no apologies for it, we needed one cooperative society in the UK in order to generate the scale that was necessary to be able to even start to compete. And so there was significant consolidation. We haven't got to one society. There are still independents around. But we have got 90% there. And in so doing, we eliminated massive costs. The last big merger, which was 2007, where this large society was created, we were able to deliver £70 million additional profit for our business in year one. That gave our board the confidence to start investing and modernising our stores. Growing organically, but also growing by acquisition. Because even after consolidation, we were still small compared with our competitors. And so we started what we call the renaissance of the consumer cooperative movement in the UK. We used to joke that we shouldn't be called a cooperative movement because we rarely cooperated and didn't move. I understand the views of my colleagues about cooperation and voluntary cooperation amongst cooperatives. We tried that, and it was to some extent successful, but didn't drive out the cost that was necessary. So we're now on the road to recovery. And I honestly, passionately believe that had we not had that consolidation, then we would have faced a very slow and very painful elimination. I've heard a lot about profit. Almost, as she said the other day, we should not make profit at any cost. However, profit is the lifeblood of any business, even a cooperative business. We have two ways of financing our business. One is borrowing money, debt, and the other is making profit and reinvesting that in the business. There is no other way. We can't sell equity in our business. That is not our business model. So without profit, we are dead. We don't exist. So whilst I accept that we shouldn't maximise profit at any cost, we have to make profit. The other problem with cooperatives is that we have, over the years, been great at innovation, but very bad at exploiting that innovation. In the UK, we were the first organisation to introduce self-service retailing in the UK. We were the last to exploit it. We were the first to introduce big stores, superstores. We were the last to exploit it. Our competitors robbed our clothes, and they exploited it. Democracy is a force for good, but it also is a force for weakness. And we have to get the balance right, in my view. One of the weaknesses of democracy is that we are not what we call fleet of foot. It takes us too long to recognise the changes that are going on in the world and the economy, and to react to those. Let me give you an example. My own organisation, which is a £14 billion business, we employ over 100,000 people, a very big business. These are the businesses that we are in. We're the fourth largest supermarket operator in the UK. We're about to become the sixth largest bank in the UK. We're Europe's largest funeral services provider, and we're the third largest pharmacy chain in the UK. We have a retail motor chain, we're Britain's biggest farmer, etc., etc., etc. And yet, we have a problem with capital. We can't raise capital in the markets. So we're spreading our capital too thinly. I think we're in too many businesses. And this is a live debate in our boardroom right now. But one of the problems that we're finding is that our members become attached emotionally to businesses that they've been historically in. So if I'm the chief executive and I say, look, we need to exit that business to use the capital to develop this business, I get out. We can't do that. Our members would not like it. And so it's that commerciality, that entrepreneurial spirit that exists in a PLC organisation that is lacking in a cooperative. And we have to somehow internally create that entrepreneurial spirit that's driven by shareholders in a PLC, but is non-existent in a cooperative. And that is a real dilemma that we face. But we have to face it. We have to be as entrepreneurial, as commercial, as the best of our competitors. Because if we don't, we will die. Just because we are a cooperative, just because we have a different business model, doesn't mean that we will automatically succeed. I'm going to end on the upside, because there is a very big upside. There is a real opportunity now for cooperatives. The world is changing. People now, we've heard it throughout the week, people have lost trust in big business. They've lost trust in politicians. And they've lost trust in the most important part of the economy, I would argue, the financial services business. Somehow, they trust the cooperative. They don't quite know why, but they do trust us. And I guess it's because of our different business model, because we're owned by our members and our consumers. We do have to communicate that message loud and clear. And my board keep telling me that, but there's a problem there, because communication costs money. It's called advertising, and it's very expensive, and therefore we have to generate profits in order to communicate. But we have a real opportunity. And we have to seize that opportunity, because it won't exist for too long. There is a window of time now where we can exploit that opportunity, that lack of trust, which is why my own organisation are about to massively increase the size of our financial services, our bank, by acquiring a big business in the UK. We're not doing it for short-term gain. We will not make big profits in the short term. But we are looking to the long term and saying, here is an opportunity in banking and we're going to exploit it. But we must be quicker in the way we make decisions. And we can't allow the great things about our democracy to interfere with the need to be entrepreneurial and make decisions quickly and recognise change. And one final thing, and then I'll finish. I'm very proud of having worked all of my career for Cooperative. I wanted to succeed. But I make no apologies for being as commercial and as, capitalist as our competitors. Because unless we are, we will fail. Thank you.